Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, as always, joined by my partner in film, Devin. And today we're going to be giving our thoughts, our opinions, our spoiler-free thoughts and opinions, mind you, on Sonic the Hedgehog 3. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, aka X, Threads, Blue Sky. There's a lot of social media apps out there, but you can follow us at those mentioned social media sites, all that social media garbage at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X, or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie related questions, or you can send us a text message by scrolling down to the episode notes of this episode or any of our other episodes. You will see a link that says send us a text message. It will generate a special text for you to send us a text message about any other movie-related questions or TV questions that you might have. Devin, what's going on? Happy December 19th, 2024. What's going on? I feel like we're what, 6 days away from Christmas?
Yeah, we're almost there. 6 days. I think this movie's almost kind of a Christmas movie because it has Jim Carrey at least, and they do mention the Grinch at one point.
Yeah, that is very true. And not to mention the recreated posters of all the classic Christmas movies that they made, like Sonic themes, which I think was pretty awesome. I love the marketing for this film. But what's going on? How you been? What you been watching?
You'll be happy to know. Last night,
did you finish it?
I finished season 1 of Yellow Jackets.
Oh, season 1. Okay. Quick thoughts. What so far?
I mean, it's also definitely winter themed at the end there. It was very, very good timing to watch that one. We don't have much snow here right now, but I'm sure it'll come eventually.
Yeah.
Just like it came for our poor girl.
Yeah. R.I.P. R.I.P. to Ella Purnell's character. What was it? Christy? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name, but
yeah, I'm blanking on the name right now too. But okay, you finished season 1. That's good.
That's now season 2. I got to go to Showtime / Paramount.
Yeah, so you watched season 1 on Netflix. That's what it was. Because season 1 of Yellow Jackets, that's the show that we're talking about here today, folks. We're not in general, but just what we're talking about right now.
I mean, Sonic is also Paramount, so
yeah,
it's a good synergy.
Were you able to watch the first 2 Sonic movies prior to watching 3?
I did not. It's not too important for this type of movie, I don't think.
Oh no, I was just super hyped for this movie. Did you watch Knuckles, the miniseries?
I did watch that. That was enjoyable.
I did not watch that, unfortunately.
I kind of got hyped when Wade Whipple showed up in this one just because of that show.
See, yeah, I didn't. I was wondering if there's going to be any kind of connection, or at least a reference to the Knuckles miniseries. I think it's only like 6 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's really short. Okay. It just gives you a little extra Knuckles.
Okay.
And then a lot of Wade.
So outside of Yellow Jacket season 1, what else have you been watching?
I mean, keeping up on Hard Knocks. It's
yeah, same.
Definitely going strong.
Yeah, I caught up yesterday. It's good stuff. We got a uphill battle, man. If we win this one, I think we clinched the division. I think that's yeah.
It's gonna be tough, but
yeah, could have been last week, but you know.
It's a gauntlet, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Philly is hard to beat, man. Because I think they also beat the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds right, yeah. Yeah, nothing else really. I mean, I did watch the first batch of the Secret Level episodes on Amazon.
How are those?
They're a mixed bag for sure. Like there's some that are really good, but then some, it's just like any anthology series. It's like Love, Death, and Robots, which it's the same creators.
I forgot, dude. I know we mentioned it before. There's just so much going on. Like, I just decided, like, I still have to watch, like, Conclave, The Brutalist, like, Night Bitch. I can't believe they named it that. But there's a few others. Sing Sing and Complete Unknown. I got to watch that as well. But I've also been keeping up with Hard Knocks. I just started watching Creature Commandos today. I'm like halfway through the second episode.
A new episode today I have to watch still.
Oh yeah, because the new episode came out today. It's really good so far.
Apparently, there's a little Batman appearance in this episode today. I've heard.
Nice, love it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. James Gunn really knows how to kind of like, a lot of his directing style revolves around like a group of like multiple characters. So it's like, it's pretty cool to see that.
What did you think about that Superman trailer? Today was the day it dropped.
Okay, I'm not a Superman fan at all. I can't wait for this movie to come out. It looks so freaking good. Like,
yeah, it's hype.
I was like, oh wow, this looks awesome.
All the color grading experts yesterday like went under a rock today or something. They're extra quiet.
Everyone's a critic. Yeah, my gosh, it drives me crazy when people do that on online. Everyone becomes a color grading expert out of nowhere when they have no experience whatsoever. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this. But yeah, watched Hard Knocks, started watching Creature Commandos. I think I might just try to blow through a few of these other movies. I know I need to do that. I really need to. I'm trying to do a lot before I have like one more day of work left. Then it's off to the old OHIO. Speaking of Ohio State, UT, Saturday. We got 2 football games Saturday.
There's a lot of football games Saturday.
There is a lot of football games. Perhaps too many to keep count of. But yeah, definitely going to watch the OSU UT game. And of course, Steelers versus Ravens. Go Steelers. Go Steelers.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh man, it's insane. But enough chit chat here, Devin. We're here to talk about the blue blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. So without further delay, we'll be right back after this introduction to Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Wow. Are you guys seeing this?
He looks just like you.
Impossible. You're a colorful bunch.
Excuse me? Why do you look like me?
I don't look like you. You look like me. Why do you look like me?
Hey, you know what? I'll ask the questions, new hedgehog. Who are you? Why do you look like me?
This is a waste of time. Walk away before you get hurt.
And we are back with our spoiler-free review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Devin, I can't believe we are now 3 movies into this franchise. What a long, strange road it has been.
Especially with where we started. Boy,
yes.
Ugly Sonic back in the day.
Sonic is what we're we're going to refer to as the ugly Sonic. Sonic with an A. And I've never seen the internet kind of pull together, and Sega themselves. It was just like, yeah, this is not Sonic. And they listened to criticism. They pushed it back. They redesigned them. It looks so much better.
And then they put the ugly one in Chippendale. It was great.
I can't believe Disney was able to get the rights to that. It is hilarious how they were able to pull that off. Like, bravo. But yeah, we're 3 movies deep here, and the synopsis for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is as follows. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails reunite against a powerful new adversary, Shadow, a mysterious villain with powers unlike any they've faced before. With their abilities outmatched, Team Sonic must seek out an unlikely alliance. Again, back in the director chair, we have Jeff Fowler. He was the director for the previous 2 Sonic movies, and now he has 3 Sonic movies under his belt.
As well as Knuckles.
Oh, and Knuckles. He did
Yeah,
Knuckles.
he's just the main Sonic guy. Like, he's just the go-to.
He must really like Sonic. He must really love Sonic. People love Sonic. People love Sonic, even though he hasn't had a good video game in a while. Outside of a few that we'll mention here in a bit, because this is like 2024 for Sega is like the year of Shadow. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen like the mini series. It's kind of like Shadow the Hedgehog animated shorts, and then they had the Sonic Generations X Shadow.
Yeah, I heard that game was really good.
Yeah, I it's been a while. I was thinking about picking it up, but holiday shopping for everyone and stuff. There's literally just no time in the day. Eventually I'll get to it. But the writers of this movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, include Pat Casey, Josh Miller, and John Whittington, and stars Jim Carrey, Ben Schwartz, Keanu Reeves as Shadow himself. Of course, we have Idris Elba, and we have Tails returning as Colleen O'Shaughnessy. She is the current voice actor of Tails collectively, like for the video games and everything. And of course, James Marsden making a little appearance back as well as a few other returning characters. So, Devin, really quick, before we start Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because before I get your actual thoughts and insights, because Sonic the Hedgehog 3, this movie draws heavily from Sonic Adventure 2 that originally released on the Dreamcast and has been ported over to multiple consoles since. GameCube, Xbox, it's on PC. You can pretty much buy it anywhere with any console that you have. I don't know if it's on Switch. I would be surprised if it wasn't. But what is your relationship with Sonic Adventure 2, the video game? Have you ever played it?
Yeah, I don't really have much of a history as far as the games go. Like, obviously, I've played them here and there, but never really fully dove into them. Just kind of taking it as it goes. Like, I'm aware of most of the characters, but I'm not, like, deep into it.
Okay. This is not really a confession, but yeah, I love Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2. I was introduced to it on the GameCube because I knew it came out for the Dreamcast, but I didn't have one. But they ported it over to the GameCube, and it was titled Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. So there was like extra like content and stuff with the game. And I played this game like crazy when I was a kid. And since then, I've owned it not on one, not two, but like 4 different platforms. I've rebought Sonic Adventure 2 at least 4 to 5 times. I've had it on GameCube. And then later on, actually, my cousin gave me his Dreamcast. So I had it for Dreamcast. Bought it when it came to Xbox back in the day when Xbox was more prominent in the gaming space. But had it on Xbox. And then eventually bought it again for PC. And
looks like I have it on Steam. Just checked my library.
Yeah, it's on Steam. Honestly, it's and like I don't know, the game is so cheap. The game is so old. And if you want like the funniest English dub for like any like Japanese like video game, it is Sonic Adventure 2. It is hilarious. It is funny. I can quote so much stuff from that, but I'm not going to. But yeah, I have a deep relation with Sonic Adventure 2, and also this Sonic the Hedgehog 3 pulls a little bit from the Shadow the Hedgehog standalone game, which is crazy. They gave Shadow a gun.
That was great. I chuckled at that. I don't think anyone else really understood the reference, but I was just in there.
And the motorcycle. That's where both of those things came from. Yeah. I was like, I was wondering if they were going to do it. Yeah, they actually did.
It wasn't like a real like
it was
gun, but it was like a laser pistol thing.
Yeah. Oh, he had like an AK, like shooting up aliens in like his own video game. It was crazy stuff. But yeah, I was just curious about what your relationship was with the video game, since Sonic the Hedgehog 3 heavily is taken from that story altogether. But Devin, take it away with your initial reactions, your spoiler-free thoughts, of course, on Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yeah, going into this one, I think there's a fair amount of hype coming off of Sonic 2. Obviously, that movie was a big improvement, I think, on the original Sonic that came out, where the main complaint everyone had, besides the initial design of Sonic, was just that we did not get enough of Sonic. There were too much of the human element, and I think for Sonic 2, they definitely cut that down quite a bit. And then for Sonic 3 here, they cut it down even more, which is great. Like, it's nice to have the humans here and there, like to have a scene or two, but they are really just not much in this movie. It's mostly Sonic, it's mostly Knuckles, Shadow, just the whole crew. And obviously Dr. Robotnik, who is, Jim Carrey is just going all out here. Like, he did not have to go this hard for a kid's movie, but it's just this thing. Like, that's what it reminded me of Grinch. Like,
yeah,
like back in the day, he's just channeling that energy, and he's doing it twice because there's two of them in this movie, which is great. So you get 2 times Jim Carrey. So if you're a Jim Carrey fan, obviously you're gonna love this one because he's going all out. Lots of jokes, like they just come in like every second or so. There's like a new joke that he pops out, and it's just great to watch. And obviously the physical humor is always there with Jim Carrey. He's always freaking out, and it's great. But I think the addition of Shadow in this one was just a great way to move the story forward, move the franchise forward. And I just like how they're taking their time with this. Like the first movie just focused on Sonic and his new human buddy. And the second movie they throw in Tails, they throw in Knuckles. Like they're not throwing everything in at once. They're going one at a time, nice and easy. This movie introduces Shadow, and then there's another mid-credit scene where it introduces another main character going forward. It's kind of just a nice way to build out your universe. And there's also some teases for expanding the universe to other animated properties that they've thrown in here and there, which would be really interesting to see if they end up doing that. But yeah, it's kind of like wild. They're kind of doing world building better than even like DCEU did. Like it's wild that Sonic is the one that's taking their time and not rushing into things. And it's paying off because I think this is the best of this trilogy by far. Because I think it just keeps improving after each sequel. I think 2 is a lot better than 1. I think this is just the best so far. And they've done, I think, honestly, we might be looking at the best video game movie ever. Like, there's not much competition, but I think this has definitely got to be right at the top.
I agree. And before I get into my thoughts, it's funny that you're, about the direction of how Sonic the Hedgehog 3 went. And I was actually looking through the trivia on IMDb, and the filmmakers prior of the movies mentioned, they played Sonic Adventure 2, which came out in 2001, and Shadow the Hedgehog, which came out in 2005, that solo game. They played both for inspiration. So it's like...
I think Jeff Fowler even worked on that Shadow game.
And there's also, apparently there's also inspired narrative elements from the Saturday morning animated television series, Sonic the Hedgehog, which came out in 1993. I used to watch that all the time. I mean, I was born in 92, so it's like by the time I was able to comprehend and actually watch television, it was just more so reruns. But I think that's really cool. I didn't realize that they took some narrative elements from Sonic the Hedgehog, the TV series, as well as the video games. But yeah, because I mean, Sonic is a video game character first and foremost. It's just, his brand is kind of splashed everywhere. And it's funny that you mentioned, that these movies keep getting better and better, because following the release of, I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Jim Carrey announced that he was considering retiring from acting. And then there was 2 producers that kind of stated that they basically they didn't want Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman to be recasted if he followed through with his plans.
And then Jim Carrey basically came out and said he wanted to get paid.
Yeah, which is, of course, pay the man, pay him whatever he wants. And I'm so glad that Jim Carrey, at least, if he's going to retire from acting, let's give it one more movie. Because like you said,
as of today, we have Sonic 4 announced. So he's definitely got that still. And he definitely has that still, depending on where they want to go with the story and how it ended here.
Yeah, and I believe that also came straight from, that news source came from, it was either Variety, I believe it was, it was Variety. Yep.
It was also Sonic himself. Ben Schwartz tweeted about it.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. It's for anyone, and I'm going to get into my thoughts here in a second, I promise. But for anyone watching this movie, stay for the mid-credit scene, please. Just stay for the mid-credit scene.
It was an impressive mid-credit scene. They went all out, a whole animated action sequence. Usually mid-credit scene is just 2 characters walking up to talk to each other, but no, this was a full-on planned out sequence.
Yeah, it's usually just some weird or funny exchange, but for the mid-credit scene for Sonic the Hedgehog, it's definitely worthwhile. It doesn't take very long to get there. So there's only one, I say post-credit even though it is mid-credit kind of thing. So yeah, it is mid-credit. and you'll know once it hits. But so as far as my thoughts, my initial reactions, at least, because we both went to go see this on a Tuesday night. Mine was at like 5 p.m.
Yeah, that's what mine was too. It was a weird
very
one.
early for like a screening. I was a little like annoyed because I'm like, man, this is literally like prime like traffic, rush hour for people getting home. Yeah, great movie. So of course, as always, I take to the streets of not Twitter, but actually I did post it on Twitter, but I posted on Letterboxd first, saying that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is an exhilarating ride and a true gift for Sonic fans and families alike, because it is a great family film. Definitely has those emotional elements that I was hoping that were going to be there, especially with the connection between Shadow, Maria, and Dr. Robotnik's grandfather, aka Pap Pap. But this is hands down the most exciting and well-rounded Sonic adventure yet. No pun intended. Actually, no pun intended. Sonic adventure. 1000%. Keanu Reeves nails it as Shadow. And I know that for a while that there were talks that it was supposed to be Hayden Christensen voicing Shadow, which I can also see. But now that I've seen Keanu Reeves voice Shadow, it fits so freaking well.
Shadow is just so cool in this movie. Like they just nailed it. The explosions, the slow motion, just all fits.
I like when Shadow first, like, let me tell you, Devin, when Shadow was first introduced in 2001, I almost lost my marbles here. Like, this was the baddest mofo I've ever seen. I was like, I didn't think that they could top Sonic's design, and they did. And it's like, he didn't have a gun or anything in Sonic Adventure 2. That was during his own video game 2005, which I also played the crap out of. But it's just, it's such a well-designed character.
I love how Sonic was like, who did your highlights?
Because
he does have those little highlights.
He does, yeah. I'm like, man, I don't know who developed Shadow or like created him, but like, job well done. I would love to look into how he was created.
Same with Knuckles too. Like, no one's even heard of an echidna before Knuckles, I feel like.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what an echidna was like whatsoever, and I had to look it up one day, and I was like, oh, that's.
I feel like hedgehogs weren't even very popular until Sonic came around.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But yeah, in Sonic Adventure 2, like part of the storyline is that everyone's mixing up Sonic with Shadow. And I was wondering if they were going to go down that road with this film. Because they're like, oh my gosh, it's a hedgehog. It must be Sonic. And they're like, oh, Sonic is, going around creating all this havoc, and it's actually Shadow. So I was wondering if they were going to do that, or at least make like a joke about it. Well, I guess they did with the nice highlights kind of thing. Because it's like, clearly they're two different characters, but early 2000 video games. It was a wild time. But to finish up my thoughts here, like Devin said, Jim Carrey, he keeps it coming with the laughs. His over-the-top antics as Dr. Eggman, aka Dr. Robotnik, but I'll just say Eggman to make it a little bit shorter. This is easily the best. Like 1,000%.
His evolution, every movie too. It's been so gradual, but after the first one, he gets the goggles and the bald head. After the second one, he gets the big mustache, and then here he's starting to puff up a little bit. He's getting some beef on him.
If you look up Dr. Robotnik versus Eggman, like on like Google like photos or whatever, just like images, you can see the main difference, because it's like, I guess I can't remember if they're technically the same character or if they're like somewhat different, or if Eggman's just like an evolution from Dr. Robotnik because he did come first. But because Dr. Robotnik is very fat, but Dr. Eggman, he's fat, but he has very skinny legs and he's very tall. It's strange, but
that's why it's kind of perfect casting. Jim Carrey's pretty tall, got some skinny legs. They just got to give him a nice little suit to put on.
Dude, like I didn't expect this movie to just have that emotional element to it, and like you said. When it comes to making a Sonic movie, I mean, yeah, like the human characters are there, but it really is about.
They're doing a great job listening to feedback. Like I think that was the main thing people complained about after the first one, and then they just keep cutting it back, and it's just like it's working out.
Right. And like honestly, the only like human in like even the first like Sonic Adventure game, it was like kind of just Eggman. Like you had a few other like random people, but it's like I don't know. When it comes to Sonic and like interacting with other humans, like I'm not sure if you ever saw Sonic X. It was like a early 2000s TV show, and there was this kid. His name was like Chris or something. Looked like Sora from like Kingdom Hearts. And it's like he was just the most like disinteresting person ever. But it's like anytime, the Sonic characters were there, it was a fun time. So it's like, yeah, like you said, I'm glad that they were able to hone in on that. And they basically gave us most of the plot points like retold from Sonic Adventure 2. And it was fantastic. And I love it. It almost low key was like towards the final act, the third act. It was like Dragon Ball Z.
The visuals were so good throughout. Like they have the animation nailed down.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The visuals and animation were fantastic. Everyone in my theater was just pretty much laughing at every single joke, like kids and adults. And that's how you know it's just a well-rounded family-friend movie. And it's probably one of my favorites of the year, just in general. Like I was anticipating this for the longest time. And the fact that, Jeff Fowler and crew were able to do their homework and just give us this. And we're getting a fourth one, which I think is awesome. And I was wondering, I was like, if we ever got a fourth film, how are they going to top Shadow? And I was like, okay, that's how you do it with that mid-credit scene, 1,000%. But I've been taking up the mic here. I've been hogging. I've been rambling. Devin, do you have any other comments, questions, concerns, or just any other thoughts that you wanted to get out into the ether for our wonderful listeners out there?
Yeah, I just think it's really cool that how they're building out this universe. And like I said before, they're taking their time with it. They're not rushing into everything like DC tried to. They're taking one character at a time for the most part. They're giving these characters their moments to shine. We haven't gotten a lot of Tails yet, but we've definitely gotten a lot of Knuckles and Sonic, obviously, and Shadow in this one. But I think it's just a great way to build out your universe. And then who knows? I mean, down the line, Mario's sitting right there. They made a Detective Pikachu reference in this movie. Like, we're getting a Super Smash Bros. Universe started.
People want that so bad. And we're getting that Legend of Zelda movie, but it's live action, so I don't really know. Well, I guess this is technically still live action. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm very happy that this movie was just able to just explode. And in general, like I said at the beginning of the episode, it's like this franchise, or the film franchise for Sonic, has come so freaking far.
And this is the one that's blown up on Rotten Tomatoes so far too for critics. Like, it's getting actually really high reviews.
Yeah, as of today, December 19th, 2024, it's sitting at 87% on the critic side. Of course, the the audience side has not been released yet, because this film technically does not come out until December 20th. We're recording this on Thursday night preview, but we saw it on Tuesday. We just weren't able to get it out a little bit early for you guys, but it's out now all together. But let's get into our final thoughts and our ratings. And also, I want to give a shout out to, really quick, the fact that they were able to maintain the iconic main theme from Sonic Adventure 2, Live and Learn. It is a great freaking song. You can listen to the original on Spotify. And I believe there's also another guy. He does like a lot of like video game like coverage of music and like anime and stuff like that. His name is Nate Wants to Battle. So he does like a lot of like Pokemon stuff, Sonic the Hedgehog, other video game, like Legend of Zelda, all that stuff. And his covers are actually pretty awesome too. So definitely check out Nate Wants to Battle's version of Live and Learn. And of course, the original Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack is on Spotify. It's been on there forever, but I'm assuming it will also rise up in the ranks. But really quick, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Aaliyah Brown, who played Maria. I thought she did a great job. We don't get a lot of Maria in Sonic Adventure 2. Like, she's there, but it's only for like certain poignant moments. But I love how they were able to flesh out her character a little bit more in this film. So I thought that was pretty awesome how her and Shadow had their special little relationship, and it's just Shadow's like closest friend kind of thing. But world domination and all that. But as I mentioned, let's get into our final thoughts and our ratings here. Devin, what are your final thoughts and ratings for Sonic the Hedgehog 3?
Yeah, final thoughts. I think it's the best entry so far in the series, and I'm very excited to see where they go from here. Like we said, a fourth one is on the way. I think 2027, they said, is when.
I believe so, which is good. But the farther the way, honestly, the better.
Yeah, animation definitely takes a while, as we've been seeing from the Spider-Verse news that's been coming out. But yeah, great movie. Like I said before, it might be the best video game movie ever made, which is definitely, it's not the highest praise, but it is still high praise. Like, there's not much competition, but someone has to do it. Someone has to stand out amongst the rest. And I think this one does. And I think the critics are starting to see that now. And I think they've done a great job taking constructive criticism and feedback and just making a great movie. So as far as the score goes, I'd probably give it like an 86 overall. Like, there's just some moments that are a bit too over the top, a bit too silly, but nothing too crazy. Like, it's just a great movie overall.
Especially, with like the human characters, there are, they try to incorporate them still, like we've mentioned, and it's, I think, outside of Jim Carrey doing his antics with his his assistants, it's really just, I think most of that comes from the other human characters, which again, they're not really in this movie, and like they don't really need to be, because like it's all about the Sonic characters. Like, that's what people are coming to see. You can sprinkle out the other human characters when you need to, but I would also give this like an 86 out of 100 for my final score. And like I said, this is just an exhilarating thrill ride. It's a great gift for Sonic fans, for video game fans, when it comes to video game adaptations for film. Like Devin said, it's the bar is very low, but this is definitely one of the best that we've quite possibly ever seen on the film side. So it's like, and it's great for families too. Everyone can just go watch this. Like, you don't really need to know anything going into this. Obviously watching the first two hot Sonic movies might help a little bit, just to kind of follow along with Sonic's journey. But like I said at the top of the show, this is the most well-rounded Sonic adventure yet, and Keanu Reeves really nailed it as Shadow. And if you play Sonic Adventure 2, you know where this story is headed, and you know what happens in general. Like, you can kind of guess what happens to certain characters if you've played the game. But yeah, Jim Carrey, man, he just I love it how he's just having fun. And I think that's what acting is like really all about. And I'm glad he didn't decide to retire just yet altogether. So yeah, Devin and I both gave this an 86 out of 100. So that will be the official podcast score for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the Film Optix podcast. And that does conclude today's episode. If you enjoy what you heard, subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. And remember to share an episode of our podcast with a fellow movie lover, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Spread the love up for the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And I would say, let's take a sneak peek of what's coming up next on the show, but it is December 19th. This quite possibly might be our last review of the year, with Christmas around the corner.
We got Mufasa, we got Nosferatu.
Oh, man. Mufasa, please. I can't see a Mufasa.
I'm still up in the air. I don't know.
We're not doing Craven.
Yeah, that's coming.
I can't. I cannot, Devin. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm done. Venom was like all right, but I was just like, I saw so much reaction from that film from Craven, and I was like, I don't know if Aaron Taylor Johnson is enough.
Yeah, it looks pretty rough.
I don't know. I did forget about Nosferatu. That will possibly be our last one. I've already seen it, so Devin just needs to go see it. So that might be, we might be able to squeeze out one, maybe two more by the end of December. Maybe. But we'll keep you posted. So, for new review releases that you can listen to right now, you can listen to our Y2K review that we did a few days ago, as well as our top 9 must-watch movie picks that we think you guys should be watching this year amongst all of your Christmas movie marathon. And of course, you can listen to our Gladiator 2 review, as well as you can also listen to our Wicked review, which me and Amanda from AMX NDA Reviews covered. It was, you got to throw the Glicked in there, right? You know, Gladiator to Wicked, you can't do one without the other. But those are just a few of our many episodes that you can listen to on our podcast here. And with all that said, thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay connected with us by following us on Twitter for the latest updates. That was Devin, and I'm Christian, signing off. And remember, life is like a movie, so go out there and make it a blockbuster.
Peace.